Welcome to Write with Love. I'm your host, Sarah Williams, best-selling author, speaker, and creative entrepreneur. Each week, I chat to passionate and inspiring authors about their journey in creative writing. Some are traditionally published, some do it themselves. Everyone's journey is different, and everyone has something interesting to say. We all love love and love what we do. Today's show is brought to you by our amazing fans and supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support the show and get some awesome bonus episodes, go to patreon.com/Sarah Williams Author to learn more. Now here's today's show. G'day and welcome to Write with Love. I'm excited today because I'm not interviewing a fellow author. For a change, I am going to be talking to a professional narrator, Andi Arndt. Thanks for joining me, Andi.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, absolutely.
Awesome. So I love listening to audiobooks, and with Audible's new romance package, I've been listening to a lot of American authors. And I first heard you narrate a Lauren Blakely novel, which was just great.
Which one was it? Do you remember?
The Knocked Up Plan, it would have been. So you did a dual narration with a guy as well. And yeah, I loved it. I just thought it was really good. And I love entertainment, and I'm a big fan of TV shows and movies and those sorts of things. So being able to listen to audiobooks, just, it plays out so brilliantly in my mind. I just love it.
Oh, I'm so glad. I love it too.
So tell us a bit about yourself and your story, how you got into this career.
Well, I've always had an interest in both theater and broadcasting. I found my way to theater kind of on my own, but my dad really inspired me to try radio when I was in college because he was a college radio DJ. And so I ended up working at a radio station and also working in a theater department, teaching acting and teaching voice for the stage. And then I got interested in doing voiceover work, and I did all kinds of voiceover work at first, commercials and corporate training and telephone systems and things like that. But when I found out about audiobooks, I just thought that would be the perfect combination of my theater background and my interest in I like the tech side of radio. So I learned about how to kind of get into the industry and went to do some workshops, made a demo, started to get into the community and go to mixers and go to things, and over time built up relationships, and now I'm proud to say that I can actually show you I am now in the Audible Narrator Hall of Fame.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool. So tell us about how it works. Where do you work out of, and all the technical stuff and the behind the scenes?
Well, I will show you. Allow me to give you a little tour. So I'm going to turn around, and I've got my regular desk and everything with my computer.
Yeah.
And then steps away from my computer, I have this booth right here.
Oh, excellent.
So it's got a really heavy double pane glass door. It's made by a company called Studio Bricks. And inside, the lights aren't on right now, but I'm looking at my microphone.
Excellent.
And I'm going to get a new stool. I'm actually going to get the kind of stool that drummers sit on.
Uh-huh.
It's comfortable for sitting for long periods of time. Mm-hmm. And then there's a second monitor in the booth that's not on right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to control the main computer from the booth monitor. And I usually have my script in the lower part of the screen and the recording software window in the upper part of the screen. And so I just start the recording going and start reading until I screw up, and then put the insertion point for the audio just before the screw up. And there's this really great bit of technology that actually plays me like about 2 seconds before the screw up to get me back into the rhythm of what I was doing. Mm. And then I just go on like that.
Wow.
And when I'm done, I send the finished, what we call raw audio, to an editor. And the editor goes through and makes sure that I haven't misread anything. So if I said he instead of she, or something like that, then, they'll point it out to me, which is always every narrator's favorite part of the job. Of course, is like, you did this wrong and this wrong and this wrong and this wrong, and also they edit out things like mouth noises or loud breaths or long pauses that don't make sense or things like that. And then they send me my corrections, and I re-record just those sentences, and they can drop them into those files and kind of scrub out the transition points so it sounds good. And they master it, which is important for the listener because that means that the volume is steady across the different files. And also, if I have a co-narration and my co-narrator's studio is not the same volume as mine, you can understand if they didn't master it, then somebody's chapters might be at one level and you're used to that, and then they switch chapters and you're like, whoa, what's
That's a good point.
Yeah, so that all of that care is taken through your listening experience, and then we upload to the platform that's going to distribute it, whether it's Audible or Authors Republic or Findaway, and it makes its way to your ears.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I've always wondered what the behind the scenes was like, and it's funny too, saying your screw ups, because I never pick anything up. I'm just like, wow,
because we already fixed it.
Yeah, you really. I just think you sit in there and you're just talking, and it's all beautiful.
Sure.
That's how good it is, and definitely a lot better than my editing studio here in my little downstairs basement. So that's brilliant. I love to see all your soundproofing too. So, well, that's awesome. So, what kind of narrating have you done?
Well, I have done a little bit of everything. I myself like variety, and so I've done biographies. I've done amazing memoirs. Recently did a memoir by a woman who escaped a situation of domestic violence. So that felt very important to do that book. Maybe somebody would hear it and be inspired to be able to take action in their own life. I've done sci-fi. I've done a lot of YA, including there was a YA dystopian that I did last year that Leonardo DiCaprio optioned the film rights from the author.
Wow.
So, we're hoping that he exercises that option, and I want to go to the world premiere of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. So that one was called The Sandcastle Empire, and it was really fun to do. It was very visual, so I could see why somebody wanted to make a movie of it.
Yeah.
And I've done cozy mysteries, and I've done thrillers, and I've been the good guy and the bad guy, and about half of what I've done is romance and erotica.
Yeah.
And that fan community is like no other, so I feel really lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, different character dialogues within the same passage. I thought that was awesome. How you can go from one accent into another one. Now, tell me, is it are you cutting in between and then coming into a different character, or are you just switching in your head?
I'm switching in real time.
Wow.
No cuts. And sometimes I'll catch myself because one voice will sort of drift into another voice, and then I can feel that that's happening, and I stop myself and go back and fix it. But once I get into a rhythm, it's a strange sort of headspace where it's more like, do you know what audio description is with a movie?
No.
It's when somebody who is visually impaired somebody audio describes the movie for them.
Oh, wow.
So if they're quote unquote watching the movie, the parts where there's no dialogue, an audio describer is saying, and now he's walking down the hall and picking up a knife,
Right.
But it's a really strange kind of attention to be in, to do that, because you really don't have any room for your own thoughts. You're just tuned into what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think when the dialogue is underway and there's a scene between two people, I get caught up in what's going on, almost as though I'm observing it and not worrying about performing it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. And what you're reading from is Is it like more of a script rather than the actual story that you read
No,
from?
I'm reading the book.
You're
I'm just
reading it. Wow.
Mhm.
So when it doesn't do the tags, the he said and she said, and you're still able to know who it is, coming from, which character and everything. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. The thing is, every once in a while, if there's no attributions, I will have to stop and count. Count back to where there was one,
Yeah.
and also figure out, okay, that would have to be that person because every other.
Mm.
Sometimes the editor will catch me and say, I think that's supposed to be this other person, and so I go in and record it. But with a good writer,
Yeah.
I catch myself because their personalities are so distinct that it feels false to speak certain lines in the wrong voice because that character wouldn't say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's always a sign of really good writing to me.
Yeah.
It's like that these two people, like, wait a second, he wouldn't talk like that.
Yeah.
Or she wouldn't talk like that. So
that's it. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. So what kind of accents can you do?
well, not Australian, which I'm hoping to work on a little bit. I did have a character who had an Australian accent in the very first Kylie Scott book because they had an Australian friend visit them.
Yep.
And it was mentioned very clearly that he had this accent. And I went, okay. So I had to go do some research into how the vowels shift.
Yeah.
And I know how to write in the phonetic alphabet. And so for those 2 pages, I wrote out in a notebook every word that he said phonetically.
Oh, wow.
And so in that case, I did have to actually stop and practice the sentence and then say it. And it took a lot of takes for each sentence. And then near the end of his scene, the character actually says, well, I guess we better be going, And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. You should leave this scene.
Fuck her off.
Yeah, so because it's very difficult for me. You know that show H2O?
Yes.
That you have. Okay, so we have that here on the kids TV network.
Yeah, it's about mermaids or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so my younger daughter was really into that show, and I would just stop and watch their mouths. And when they say KNOW, see, how would you say that?
Yeah, no.
See, I don't understand what you just did.
I was going to say, because I've got a New Zealand accent, so that's probably different again.
Well, yeah. And I have a friend with a New Zealand accent who is actually, I'm not going to say who it is because you would immediately know because it's somebody from a famous rock band.
Oh.
And so I said, hey, is that a tattoo on your arm? And he's like, yeah. And I said, what is it? What is the tattoo of? And I remember he looked down and he said, it's just a stupid snake.
That's awesome.
So that's always my that's my New Zealand now. It's a stupid snake.
Nice. That's good.
So I actually had to turn down a full-length book that required me to be able to do the man's voice with an Australian accent.
Right.
Not to say I could never learn it, but the way casting goes, publishers really want somebody who can hold an authentic accent all the way through. So if you don't have that accent from living there or studying intensely, they either want you to have it authentically or hold it so well that you're fooling them into thinking you must be from there or lived there.
Yeah, right.
So my specialty accents are more American regional dialects. I grew up in Minnesota, and in Minnesota they talk like this. And so I've got some books coming up that require me to talk like where I grew up, and very, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Fargo.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that in Minnesota. But right now, where I live in Virginia, and Virginia has definitely we're the upper South, and we also have some Appalachian but then you swing on over to Kentucky, and it gets a little bit more twangy, like that. You know, you go down to Georgia, you can get a little bit more refined, and you know, West Texas sounded like W.
Yep.
And also, I went to high school in New Jersey, so in New Jersey, it's just a little bit more like business-like, like get to the point. You know, where are we gonna go? Da 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 da.
Yeah.
More up in my nose. So
Yeah. So dual narration with other narrators. So a lot of the romance in particular, it's 50-50 male and female roles. So you'd often do the female roles and what I've been listening to, and then somebody else will do the male roles. So do you guys have to talk between each other and work anything out, or do you just go and do your thing and he does his thing?
Well, ideally, we coordinate.
Yeah.
So we will share a Dropbox folder and put in reference files and say, here's how I did the dad. Here's how I did, the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how the snarky girlfriend sounds. We compare notes, like if we share characters across our chapters, or I've gotten to know Sebastian York well enough, for example, or Zachary Weber well enough. We've talked on the phone about stuff that I know how they talk and I know what they sound like. So in a way, when I do their character's voice, I'm just imitating them.
Yeah. Excellent. Are you kind of thinking about them when you're doing scenes? Like,
I'm thinking, I really like both of them.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to, pretend like I'm with them, or joking around with them, or even flirting with them, because they're both very social, friendly, people.
Yeah.
And I once heard flirting described as just like people who are good flirts just know how to make people feel comfortable and feel good.
That's true. And I guess I could go down a really dirty pathway here, but I won't. That's true. So, who else have you done some narration for? So we've talked Melissa Foster and we've talked Lauren Blakely. Who else?
I just did Corinne Michaels and Melanie Harlow's first co-write.
Wow.
With my co-narrator was Tor Tom,
cool.
Who people are liking right now.
Yeah.
And I'm working on the third of Lauren Blakely's new Heartbreakers series. So I realize I'm repeating because you already said Lauren Blakely.
That's all right.
I'm working on a Kendall Ryan book right now.
Yeah.
And before I head out on vacation, I'm doing Penelope Ward's new book next week, also with Sebastian York.
Yeah, brilliant. And how long does it actually take you to do a full book narration?
Well, it all depends on, we do it by the finished hour. It's actually how we would, that's how we're billed.
Yeah.
How we get paid is by the finished hour. And so it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours in the booth to finish 1 hour of what you're going to listen to.
Yeah.
With all the stopping and starting and drinking a glass of water and,
Yeah.
I don't know. It always takes me a long time to start because I sit down and I realize I don't have my water. I don't have my lip balm. I don't have my, my computer's not set to the right thing. I didn't shut the door. It's like it takes me a while to kind of land and settle down and concentrate. So if I'm very focused, I can go like 1.5 hours to 1 hour finished.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not so focused, it could take me 4 hours to finish an hour if there's a lot of interruptions or I'm just having a really spacey day. So,
yeah. Excellent. Oh, wow, that's very cool. And I'd love to hear a demo if you've got something ready that you can read for us. That would be really cool.
I'm gonna hope that the unplugging.
Yeah.
Just like this because I need to keep the power cord.
Yeah.
So I think I look weird when I'm reading.
Only the people watching this will notice.
I've seen video of myself narrating, and I think I look really weird. All right, so let's see. So this is from the Knocked Up Plan.
Awesome.
I just pulled up the script. See, so now if somebody really likes this scene the way we did it before, that's recorded, and they're used to the way we did it, it's not going to be the same. Because I've had people say, "Oh, that one scene in that one book, I love how you said, da da da," and it's like, and I'll probably never be able to say it exactly that way again.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness! I pulled up this one of the first scenes. All right. Okay, so the thing to notice is that it's not just differentiating between the man and the woman, but differentiating between when somebody is talking and when they're not talking.
That's right.
Yeah. Balancing my laptop and notebook on my hip, I shove my copper-colored hair off my eyes. Is that your way of inviting me to take your wheelbarrow out for a ride around the garden? His lips curve up in a mischievous grin. Nicole, don't you know? You can ride this ride anytime. That's where his teasing ends. But holy smokes, the end of your show. He clutches his chest. He clutches his hand to his chest as if he's in pain. Were you about to cry too? Oh, it was awful, wasn't it? So sad, he says, shaking his head. Almost makes me want to take on the job for Rachel myself. How thoughtful of you. I'm considerate like that.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I love the way you do that with your voice and everything. That's really great. Well done.
Ta-da!
So if anyone listening does want to be a narrator, do you have any tips for them?
Well, the good news is there's a whole lot of information for free if you Google how to become an audiobook narrator. The bad news is the reason there's a whole lot of information up there is because a lot of people want to be audiobook narrators right now.
Yep.
And so it's about as intense as saying that you want to be a professional musician.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't just like take a guitar and walk into a club and say, "Can I play?"
That's it. I guess it's the same with being an author as well. It's, a lot of people, I could write a book better than that. I mean, we get it often. People who have read Mills and Boon novels and they go, oh, it's easy. Anyone can write a Mills and Boon novel. But the truth is, it's very, very hard, and there's a lot of training.
My own kid said one time, she was waiting for me to be finished with a book, and the very last part of a happily ever after is meant to be very sentimental, and it sort of zooms out, and we're happy and everything's great. And she said, I could write a book like that. And I said, okay, go do it.
Yep, that's it. I do that too. Yep, go on. I'd like to see it.
Because the thing is, if somebody wants to be a narrator and they know that secret of secrets that they really are going to do it, and they're not going to let anybody stop them, just like a musician knows in their heart of hearts, they're really going to do it. They're going to figure it out. Then they will.
Yeah.
But there aren't any shortcuts.
That's right. That's it. Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. And so you work with publishers, traditional publishers, but you can actually be hired from someone like myself who writes and publishes their own work. So tell us if we want to do that, if we want you to narrate because you do such a fantastic job, how do we do that?
Well, you go to lyricaudioBooks.com, and that's my production company. Yep. So lyric, like song lyrics, audiobooks.com. And it's actually getting an update, but there's enough there now to see who we work for, and there's a form to fill out to express interest in working with us. And then we usually have a conversation with you about what you are looking for and kind of where you are with your business, and make sure that we're a good fit and talk about distribution. For authors who are in Australia, I know that you don't have ACX yet through Audible, but there are other distribution channels that will get you into the U.S. market, including on Audible. So we know how to advise about distribution. And we coordinate production. We can do casting. So I produce things that I'm not necessarily narrating as well.
Excellent.
And so we really pride ourselves in making it easy and sort of demystifying the process for our authors.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm going to be lucky enough to meet you on the Gold Coast in September.
Yay!
You're coming down for Romancing the Coast.
I am.
Yeah, so that's awesome. What are you going to be doing while you're in Aussie?
Well, I'm arriving in Sydney and touring around there. I have one night in Melbourne, which is ridiculous, but I was like, if I'm going to be all that way, at least I have one day and night where I could fit it in.
Yep.
I'm in Sydney and Melbourne. I'm going to be doing narrator workshops through the Equity Foundation, Actors Association, in both cities. So they've arranged for a space, and I'm going to be teaching a pretty intense narrator workshop in each city, and just touring around and seeing what I can see, because I've never been to Australia. Very curious. And then I fly to Gold Coast, and the day before Romancing the Coast, I'm doing an author workshop that I'm really excited about, where we can get into some detail about how it all works, what the author's role is, how we can help, and tips and tricks and best practices and things to know. And so we'll be doing that, and then I'm going to the event itself.
Yep.
And I bought tickets for the after party. And the day after, I'm planning to just spend most of the day on the beach.
Nice.
Trying not to get eaten by a shack.
Good luck.
And then I go up to Brisbane and fly home.
Excellent. Oh, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic time. And I will definitely, I'm in the Sunshine Coast, north of Brisbane, so I will be coming down and seeing you. I'm already booked in to do your workshop, so I'm very excited about that. So that's just awesome. Well, thank you so much for everything today. And just quickly tell us what's coming out next, in case we have already listened to everything you've ever narrated.
Well, Kylie Scott's It Seemed Like a Good Idea at the Time is the August release that I'm really looking forward to. I loved the story. I loved the characters. Typical, like, Kylie Scott has these awesome heroines who just take no crap.
Yeah.
And the guy is cranky, lovable, and I had a blast recording that one. So that's the one that I'm super excited about.
Excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. And you've already mentioned your website, and you're on social media as well, in case we want to behind the scenes.
Yes, I'm on Facebook. As me, the narrator, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and my Instagram that I've been having fun with this summer is @OffMikeAndy. Everyone always thinks it's Off My Candy. Off Mike Andy. And then lyricaudiobooks.com, and we're getting our social media up and running on that going into the fall.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Andy. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Jump onto my website, sarahwilliamsauthor.com, and join my mailing list to receive a free preview of my books and lots of other inspiration. If you like the show and want it to continue, you can become a sponsor for just a couple of dollars a month. Go to patreon.com/Sarah Williams Author. And remember to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a review of the podcast. I'll be back next week with another loved up episode. Bye!